increasing following, marketing, at the end of the day, really more of a money-making endeavor. Whether for any of those reasons or another, we're sacrificing what allows us to really connect with people for the end result that we're looking for. And we have interactions. People read our posts. Maybe they feel connected to what we're saying, but they seldom feel connected to like who we are as people. And people become products. I don't know.
I like that.
People become products, and they become results, and they become end goals rather than like people. Like you hire a fitness coach on Instagram because they did something and they have clients, and you're looking at what you can become. But it's not always like a emotional connection to that person. And I think we really crave that, and we really need that back. But to have constantly this fight between people who really want to make a difference and really want to be authentic, there's this fight in their head between showing up authentically and being consistent enough. And I just think maybe that you've got to recharge if you're gonna. It's hard to.
I'm big on recharging. I totally agree with the recharge because the amount of psychic energy it takes for me to even pour into social media, like you said, it's draining.
It's draining.
And I often see that, like you just I didn't even think of it this way, but like you just mentioned, I'm focused on the end result and not even being my genuine self. And so that in itself is draining me just by not even attempting to be genuine. You know, even before this video, I was just like, how do I make it perfect? How do I start perfectly? How do I start perfectly? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, perfection comes with consistent inconsistencies. And so I'm just trying to allow myself the room to perceive what's inconsistent and imperfect to me and let other people tell me what it is. Because I get so wrapped up on what other people's opinions are, which I think many others do, and that's why they focus on that end result more than creating that quality, genuine expression of what they're just trying to share and project. Because oftentimes I'll get on I'll just look back at an example of myself when I first started in real estate. I seen that I had the opportunity with social media to live a life that I'm not living, you know, because no one can come to me or come to my house personally and tell me what kind of life I'm living. So I've decided to always be that I was always positive behind online, and I'm doing great in real estate and I'm in my suits and all this stuff. But the truth was, I just got my license. I hadn't really sold anything. You know, I was just glad to me that I got into real estate. I didn't even think about making money in it. But when I start seeing others making money in it and I start comparing myself, then I start feeling insecure that I'm supposed to be in a place that I'm not. And so then that argument, that fight with myself began to say, hey, you're supposed to be here already. You're supposed to be there already. Instead of just simply accepting the fact that where I was at that point in my life was exactly where I needed to be, because that's what my life has manifested. Didn't manifest what someone else's life has already worked for them. And I'm getting more and more comfortable not to even compare myself to other people, because I realize when I'm living in Thomas Andre Hopes's most genuine being, nobody can compare to me. Why? Because I am an individual. You are an individual. When you're living in your greatest being, which is mentally, physically, sexually, and spiritually aligned with yourself, people are literally watching you walk around in a glow. They're watching your aura, and you might not be able to see it, but other people see your aura. And I have started to realize that I shouldn't be so critical on myself anymore, because there's something else that other people see that I don't even see in myself. And it's the same with me when I see other people. Like when I reached out to you, I was like, it was just a light, because not many people have the conversation or the conscious awareness to even realize the things that are going on outside of them, let alone within them, that they're manifesting. And so I was just,
oh wow, that's so much. And I think from even from like a business and marketing perspective, from a perspective, and this is the reality, right? Like there are people who buy my stuff on social media, and I openly talk about business too, because like I know what it is to be marketing yourself, and I've had a couple business coaching clients, and I find that like with this feeling of needing to be present on social media all the time, we now have software like later.com and things that post your post for you ahead of time. And several business coaches I've had have been like, look, if you want to be consistent enough, you need to batch your content. You need to pick one day of the week that you write all of your social media posts. And I swear I could never get connected to that. I could never batch. And I've coached people to start businesses and they've done well. And people have asked me for advice. How is your content always so good? Like, how is your content always so connected? And why do I feel so connected to it? I'm like, look, I write it in the moment. I can't sacrifice the meaning of that. So I think that that's where you see another level of authenticity lost, is when we sacrifice how much we're putting out, right? Quality over quantity. So there's that. You're less connected to it. But then also you said about comparing yourself, and in terms of a marketing sense, like wanting to assert yourself as an authority in your field on social media, because you think that you have to be an authority in your field in order for people to pay you.
Right.
And I think the problem with that is that being an authority in your field is all about emotional connection, and it's all about having that emotional connection with somebody. Like, and this is what I tell people all the time when I'm coaching them to be like personal trainers online. Like, I'm like, people, there are trainers with 25 years more experience than I have. Way better trainers than me. I know about fitness, but they know about fitness. I don't pretend I'm 25 years old. How could I know more than them? They started when I was not born. And I recognize that. But what I have is an ability to present. So like, if people aren't impressed by your qualifications or your authority or how much money you've made, like, they want to feel connected to you. So my MO with coaching always has been, and like when I started my business, like, I had like 40 clients at a time. I was signing 2-3 clients every week, high ticket. Like, I got to a point where like I was on a roll, and we had group calls weekly, and people appreciated, I hope, so much that it wasn't just like, hey guys, let's talk about you today. Let's talk about this topic today. Let's have this wall of formality between us. Like, I would get on live calls or like freaking wine night Zoom calls with some of my clients who became my best friends, and I'd cry to them about my life. And I would use that as an example for like what I wanted to talk about that I also might have seen them struggling with. And I would say, look, I'm not over it. It's not done. I'm a fitness coach, but I still have an eating disorder. I still binge sometimes. Like, there are still patterns in my mind that fire. And I know where they're coming from, but that doesn't mean that they stop yet. And I think like something that someone always said to me when I was having a moment of imposter syndrome, which I describe as like comparing yourself to others, thinking like, who am I to think I'll be successful doing this? Look at this person over here who's doing all of these things and making all this money. I don't know enough. I don't have a PhD. I don't make enough. I'm not old enough. All of those things, is that every teacher has their students.
Yes.
Every teacher has their students. So like, maybe that teacher is your teacher and you're the student, but they're a student